The Great Wagon Road was the lifeblood of colonial America, forging a pathway for settlers, traders, and explorers that would forever alter the course of history. This ancient route, stretching from Philadelphia to Georgia, funneled the hopes and dreams of generations into the untamed wilderness. As we embark on this journey through time, get ready to uncover the secrets hidden beneath the dusty trails of America's forgotten highway. In the early 18th century, the British colonies along the eastern seaboard of North America were experiencing rapid growth, with settlers pouring in from Europe and the West Indies. As the population expanded, the need for a reliable overland route to connect the northern and southern colonies became increasingly pressing. The existing network of Indian trails and colonial pathways was inadequate for the volume of trade and migration, and the treacherous terrain of the Appalachian Mountains posed a significant barrier to westward expansion. It was against this backdrop that the Great Wagon Road began to take shape. The road's earliest precursor was the Philadelphia-Wilmington-Newcastle route, which had been in use since the late 17th century. This primitive pathway, known as the King's Highway, followed the Delaware River and connected the colonial capitals of Pennsylvania and Delaware. However, as the demand for a more direct and efficient route grew, attention turned to the possibility of forging a road through the Appalachian Mountains. In 1718, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new road that would link the colony's capital, Williamsburg, with the port city of Philadelphia. The project was entrusted to a group of enterprising surveyors and engineers who set out to chart a course through the treacherous mountain terrain. One of these pioneers was a young Scottish-born surveyor named Thomas Bullitt, who would play a key role in shaping the Great Wagon Road. Bullitt's party began their work in the spring of 1719, setting out from the Virginia frontier town of Winchester and heading northwest into the unknown. As they traversed the mountains, they encountered numerous obstacles, including raging rivers, steep precipices, and hostile Native American tribes. Despite these challenges, the surveyors pressed on, driven by a vision of a trans-Appalachian highway that would unlock the secrets of the western wilderness. Over the next several years, Bullitt and his team worked tirelessly to map out a viable route, often using existing Indian trails as a guide. They followed the valley of the Shenandoah River, which offered a relatively gentle passage through the mountains, and began to mark out a path that would eventually become the Great Wagon Road. As news of their progress spread, settlers and traders began to take notice, sensing the potential for a new era of growth and prosperity. By the mid-1720s, the road had begun to take shape, with sections of it being open to traffic between Winchester and the North Carolina border. The journey was still arduous, with steep grades, raging streams, and primitive accommodations, but the promise of a direct route to the southern colonies was too enticing to resist. As the first wagons and pack trains began to rumble along the road, the Great Wagon Road embarked on its storied journey, one that would span generations, shape the course of American history, and forever alter the landscape of the eastern United States. The early years of the road's operation were marked by numerous challenges, from treacherous weather conditions to conflicts with Native American tribes. However, the determination of settlers and traders to push westward proved unstoppable, and the Great Wagon Road began to flourish. As the road expanded, it attracted a diverse array of travelers, including merchants, missionaries, and migrants, each with their own stories and motivations. One such traveler was a young Moravian missionary named Bishop August Gottlieb Spangenberg, who in 1728 set out from Pennsylvania to establish a new mission in the Carolina backcountry. Spangenberg's journey along the Great Wagon Road would take him through some of the most breathtaking landscapes in the American colonies, from the rolling hills of Virginia to the misty mountains of North Carolina. As he traveled, he marveled at the natural beauty of the wilderness, while also grappling with the harsh realities of life on the frontier. Spangenberg's account of his journey, penned in 1732, provides a vivid glimpse into the world of the Great Wagon Road during its formative years. He wrote of the road's many perils, from swollen rivers to marauding bandits, but also of its beauty and promise. As he looked out upon the endless expanse of forest and mountain, Spangenberg felt a sense of awe and wonder, knowing that he was part of a larger story, one that would unfold over generations and shape the very course of American history. As Bishop Spangenberg's account suggests, the Great Wagon Road was a gateway to the unknown, a pathway that beckoned settlers, traders, and missionaries to explore the uncharted territories of the American wilderness. The road's expansion during the 1730s and 1740s was fueled by the growing demand for trade and commerce between the northern and southern colonies. One notable figure who played a significant role in shaping the road's development was Gabriel Jones, a Virginia planter and politician who served as a member of the House of Burgesses. Jones was instrumental in securing funding and support for the road's maintenance and expansion, recognizing its potential to stimulate economic growth and facilitate westward settlement. In 1735, he introduced legislation that provided for the construction of new sections of the road, including a critical stretch between the Virginia frontier town of Winchester and the North Carolina border. This extension enabled travelers to bypass the treacherous terrain of the Blue Ridge Mountains, reducing travel time and increasing safety. The improved road conditions and growing traffic on the Great Wagon Road also led to the establishment of new settlements and trading posts along its route. One such example was the town of Salem, North Carolina, founded in 1753 by a group of Moravian settlers who had traveled south from Pennsylvania via the Great Wagon Road. The town quickly became an important commercial center, with merchants and traders exchanging goods such as textiles, tools, and livestock. As the road continued to expand, it also played a significant role in shaping the cultural and social landscape of the American colonies. The Great Wagon Road served as a conduit for the exchange of ideas, customs, and values between different regions and communities. For instance, the road facilitated the spread of evangelical Christianity, with missionaries like Bishop Spangenberg traveling along its route to establish new congregations and convert Native Americans. The road's impact on Native American communities was complex and multifaceted. While some tribes, such as the Cherokee and Catawba, established trade relationships with European American settlers and travelers, others, like the Shawnee and Delaware, resisted encroachment on their lands and way of life. The Great Wagon Road often served as a flashpoint for conflicts between Native Americans and European Americans, particularly during periods of heightened tension and violence. One notable example of such conflict occurred in 1755 when a group of Shawnee warriors attacked a party of settlers traveling along the Great Wagon Road in present-day Virginia. The incident, known as the Draper's Meadow Massacre, resulted in the deaths of several settlers and highlighted the ongoing tensions between Native American tribes and European American colonists. Despite such challenges, the Great Wagon Road continued to expand, driven by the relentless push of settlers, traders, and missionaries into the American wilderness. As the Great Wagon Road continued to expand, it played a crucial role in the French and Indian War, which broke out in 1754. The road served as a vital supply line for British forces, allowing them to transport troops, ammunition, and equipment to the frontier. In 1755, General Edward Braddock's army used the Great Wagon Road to march towards Fort Duquesne, a French outpost in present-day Pittsburgh. Although Braddock's expedition ended in disaster, with his army being defeated by a combined force of French and Native American warriors, the road remained a vital artery for British military operations. One notable figure who traveled along the Great Wagon Road during this period was Lieutenant Colonel George Washington, who served as an aide-de-camp to General Braddock. In 1755, Washington accompanied Braddock's army on its ill-fated expedition and witnessed firsthand the challenges of traveling along the road. After Braddock's defeat, Washington returned to Virginia and played a key role in organizing the defense of the colony's frontier against Native American raids. As the French and Indian War dragged on, the Great Wagon Road continued to play a crucial role in the conflict. In 1758, British forces, under the command of General John Forbes, used the road to launch a successful campaign against Fort Duquesne, which they captured and renamed Fort Pitt. The road also facilitated the movement of troops and supplies during the subsequent campaigns against Native American tribes in the Ohio River Valley. The Great Wagon Road also had a significant impact on the development of the region's economy. As trade and commerce increased along the road, new towns and settlements sprang up to cater to the needs of travelers and traders. One such example was the town of Bedford, Pennsylvania, which was founded in 1758 and quickly became an important commercial center, The town's strategic location at the intersection of the Great Wagon Road and the Juniata River made it an ideal place for merchants and traders to exchange goods. As the French and Indian War came to a close in 1763, the Great Wagon Road continued to play a vital role in the development of the American colonies. The road remained a major artery for trade and commerce, connecting the colonies to the Ohio River Valley and beyond. However, the road's significance extended far beyond its economic importance, as it also facilitated the exchange of ideas, cultures, and values between different regions and communities. The Great Wagon Road had become an integral part of the colonial landscape, shaping the course of American history in ways both subtle and profound. In the years following the French and Indian War, the Great Wagon Road underwent significant improvements, with new sections being built and existing ones being upgraded. In 1764, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new road that would connect the Great Wagon Road to the Kanawha River in present-day West Virginia. This new road, known as the Kanawha Road, would provide a more direct route for travelers and traders heading into the Ohio River Valley. As the Great Wagon Road continued to expand and improve, it attracted an increasing number of settlers and traders. One notable example was the group of German immigrants who traveled along the road in the 1760s and established the town of Lebanon, Pennsylvania. These immigrants brought with them new skills, customs, and traditions that would shape the cultural landscape of the region for generations to come. The Great Wagon Road also played a significant role in the westward migration of Scots, Irish settlers, who began to arrive in large numbers in the 1760s. Many of these settlers traveled along the road, seeking new opportunities and land in the Ohio River Valley. One notable example was the family of John Finley, who settled in present-day Kentucky in the early 1770s after traveling along the Great Wagon Road from their home in Pennsylvania. As the Scots-Irish settlers continued to arrive in large numbers, the Great Wagon Road became a bustling thoroughfare, with thousands of travelers making their way along its length every year. One notable example of the road's importance during this period was the journey of Daniel Boone, who traveled along the Great Wagon Road in 1775 on his way to explore the Kentucky wilderness. Boone's expedition marked the beginning of a new era of settlement in the region, as thousands of settlers followed in his footsteps, seeking to stake their claim on the fertile lands of the Ohio River Valley. The increased traffic on the Great Wagon Road also led to the establishment of new towns and settlements along its length. One such town was Winchester, Virginia, which became a major stopping point for travelers and traders. The town's strategic location at the intersection of the Great Wagon Road and the Shenandoah River made it an ideal place for merchants and traders to exchange goods, and it quickly grew into a thriving commercial center. As the American Revolution approached, the Great Wagon Road played a significant role in the war effort. In 1774, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new road that would connect the Great Wagon Road to the Kanawha River, with the goal of providing a more direct route for troops and supplies heading into the Ohio River Valley. The road was built by a team of surveyors and laborers led by Thomas Bullitt, who had previously worked on the construction of the Great Wagon Road. The new road, known as the Kanawha Trail, was completed in 1775 and quickly became an important route for military supplies and personnel. In 1778, a contingent of troops led by General Andrew Lewis used the Kanawha Trail to launch a successful campaign against the Native American tribes of the Ohio River Valley, who had allied themselves with the British. The campaign marked a significant turning point in the war, as it helped to secure the region for the Americans and pave the way for further settlement. As the Revolution drew to a close, the Great Wagon Road continued to play a vital role in the development of the region. In 1784, a group of settlers led by John Finley established the town of Lexington, Kentucky, which quickly grew into a thriving commercial center. The town's location at the intersection of the Great Wagon Road and the Kentucky River made it an ideal place for merchants and traders to exchange goods, and it soon became one of the most important towns in the region. The growth of Lexington and other towns along the Great Wagon Road also led to an increase in trade and commerce, as merchants and traders sought to take advantage of the region's rich natural resources. One notable example of this was the establishment of the Kentucky bourbon industry, which got its start in the late 18th century when a group of entrepreneurs began distilling whiskey from the region's abundant corn crops. The industry quickly grew, with many distilleries springing up along the Great Wagon Road and other routes in the region. As the years passed, the Great Wagon Road continued to evolve and adapt to changing circumstances. In 1790, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new road that would connect the Great Wagon Road to the Cumberland Gap, with the goal of providing a more direct route for travelers and traders heading into the Ohio River Valley. The road was built by a team of surveyors and laborers, led by Thomas Mitchell, who had previously worked on the construction of the Kanawha Trail. As the 19th century dawned, the Great Wagon Road continued to play a vital role in the development of the region. In 1803, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new turnpike that would connect the Great Wagon Road to the Ohio River, with the goal of providing a more direct and efficient route for trade and commerce. The turnpike was built by a team of engineers and laborers, led by Colonel Thomas Anderson, who had previously worked on the construction of the Cumberland Road. The new turnpike, known as the Lexington-Louisville Turnpike, was completed in 1811 and quickly became a major artery of commerce for the region. It facilitated the transportation of goods such as tobacco, cotton, and whiskey, and helped to establish Lexington and Louisville as major commercial centers. The turnpike also played a significant role in the growth of the livestock industry, as it provided a direct route for cattle and other animals to be driven from the Ohio River Valley to markets in the east. As the years passed, the Great Wagon Road continued to evolve and adapt to changing circumstances. In 1820, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new road that would connect the Great Wagon Road to the National Road, with the goal of providing a more direct route for trade and commerce between the East Coast and the Ohio River Valley. The road was built by a team of engineers and laborers led by Colonel Richard Clough Anderson, who had previously worked on the construction of the Lexington-Louisville Turnpike. The new road, known as the Maysville Road, was completed in 1835 and quickly became a major route for trade and commerce. It facilitated the transportation of goods such as textiles, machinery, and agricultural products, and helped to establish towns such as Maysville and Washington as major commercial centers. The Maysville Road also played a significant role in the growth of the railroad industry, as it provided a direct route for railroads to be built between the East Coast and the Ohio River Valley. As the railroad industry grew and expanded, the Great Wagon Road began to decline in importance. Many of the old wagon roads were abandoned or converted into railroads, and the towns and cities that had grown up along the road began to shift their focus towards the new mode of transportation. However, the legacy of the Great Wagon Road continued to be felt, as it had played a significant role in the development of the region and had helped to establish many of the towns and cities that would go on to become major commercial centers. In 1840, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new railroad that would connect the Ohio River Valley to the East Coast, with the goal of providing a more direct and efficient route for trade and commerce. The railroad was built by a team of engineers and laborers, led by Colonel Claudius Crozet, who had previously worked on the construction of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal. The new railroad, known as the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad, was completed in 1856 and quickly became a major artery of commerce for the region. As the years passed, the Great Wagon Road continued to fade into memory, but its legacy lived on in the many towns and cities that it had helped to establish. In 1860, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new road that would connect the old wagon road to the new railroad, with the goal of providing a more direct route for trade and commerce between the East Coast and the Ohio River Valley. However, the outbreak of the Civil War in 1861 put a halt to these plans, and the Great Wagon Road was all but forgotten as the nation turned its attention towards the conflict. The war had a devastating impact on the region, with many of the towns and cities that had grown up along the Great Wagon Road being destroyed or severely damaged. However, in the years following the war, the region began to rebuild and recover, and the legacy of the Great Wagon Road continued to be felt. In 1870, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new road that would connect the old wagon road to the new railroad, with the goal of providing a more direct route for trade and commerce between the East Coast and the Ohio River Valley. The new road, known as the Shenandoah Valley Turnpike, was completed in 1880 and quickly became a major artery of commerce for the region. It facilitated the transportation of goods, such as textiles, machinery, and agricultural products, and helped to establish towns such as Harrisonburg and Staunton as major commercial centers. The turnpike also played a significant role in the growth of the automobile industry, as it provided a direct route for cars to be driven between the East Coast and the Ohio River Valley. As the years passed, the Great Wagon Road continued to fade into memory, but its legacy lived on in the many towns and cities that it had helped to establish. In 1900, the Virginia General Assembly authorized the construction of a new highway that would connect the old wagon road to the new railroad, with the goal of providing a more direct and efficient route for trade and commerce between the East Coast and the Ohio River Valley. The new highway, known as the Lee Highway, was completed in 1920 and quickly became a major artery of commerce for the region. Today, the Great Wagon Road is all but forgotten, but its legacy continues to be felt in the many towns and cities that it helped to establish. The road may be gone, but its impact on the development of the region will never be forgotten. It played a significant role in the growth of trade and commerce, the establishment of new towns and cities, and the expansion of the railroad industry. As the region continues to grow and develop, the legacy of the Great Wagon Road will remain an important part of its history and heritage. Its impact on the development of our nation is a lasting reminder that even the smallest steps can lead to profound transformations. Thank you for joining me throughout this historical journey. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.